everyone, I am here with Jordan from Refract, and we are going to talk about Distance, which is a survival racing game. Can you explain to me what's the survival part of the racing?
So, in a lot of racing games, you kind of have these like laps, you're kind of going on a loop. Our game's a little more point A to B, and there's a lot of things in your path that are trying to prevent you to get from point A to B.
Okay.
So, the car basically is almost more like a platform in a lot of ways. You can boost, but then you can also jump and fly, and your car can even rotate, and you can kind of do like parkour, wall riding, and stuff like that. So it's kind of like partially an exploration. There's a partial exploration element to the game where you can kind of just like jump off the track if you feel like that's going to be faster. And a lot of times, there's the things popping out of the road, and there's saws that are trying to cut you in half, and lasers that are trying to mess you up, and you're basically just trying to get to the end. So if you can survive.
It's more about strategy rather than just like how fast can you go.
yeah, absolutely. It's basically you're trying to go fast, and everything in the world is trying to make you stop.
What gave you the idea to make this game?
I think one of the coolest parts about it, at least for me, was there's this general sense of freedom that we're trying to kind of embody with it, where a lot of games, there's a lot of freedom in the controls, but you're really locked to the track. You really just don't have, anywhere else you can go. And for us, it was more like, okay, I have this car, and maybe in some games I can just drive right off the edge of the road, but then you just wait for a few seconds before it resets you, or kind of awkwardly does something with that. And ours was like, well, if we kind of have this like really intense, edge to it, where you're basically like everything's trying to kill you, and you're able to kind of like fall off the road, but whoa, I've got wings, I can just like fly right back on. Or, it's like, well, I could go straight where the path is, but I look through that hole right there and the road goes right over there, so why don't I just jump and fly through the buildings? And there's that kind of like exploration freedom element to us that was really exciting. The way the project actually started was we were students at this school called DigiPen many years ago. And one of our final projects there, it's a game development school, so they have you make games, and surprise. And we built this kind of weird game called Nitronic Rush, and it was kind of Tron plus Rush in many ways. It was kind of our experiment with that. And that started as kind of like a love letter to 90s arcade racing games. And at the end of that project, we were like, this was actually like an amazing project to work on, a lot of fun, but we really didn't get to flesh out like the world and even some of the mechanics as much as we wanted. So after we graduated from school, we started up a whole new company, and our first project was Distance. And the idea was basically to take the lessons from Nitronic Rush and kind of the inspirations from those 90 arcade racing games, or early 2000s, stuff like that, and say, simulation racing is really what's going on right now, and a lot of people are kind of like, the big companies are not making futuristic, arcade, just really, twitchy controls and all that. A lot of that's starting to go away. We always bias towards loud and crazy, and so anytime we're in an area in the game and we're like, it's fine, but is it as crazy as it really possibly could be? You go crazy, then you go even crazier.
Yeah,
like,
let's
okay,
dial that up
we have finally gone too far. Okay, now we know, but it rarely happens where we find out that we went too far, We really want it to be intense and kind of a very visceral experience, but something also where it's a little bit trance-ish and a little bit like you kind of just like get in the zone with it, You want that kind of inertia that you're feeling all the way through the experience. So that's like a kind of an underlying emotion we're trying to hit.
Is it multiplayer?
Yep, so there's a lot of modes.
Okay.
We're kind of going back after the old arcade stuff. We've got a solo story mode that's kind of like the main thing we hope a lot of people kind of play through, but there's also split screen and online multiplayer. From our perspective, we're trying to kind of open up as much as we can. There's normal races, but there's also like tag modes. There's a random track generator, and we also have a level editor so people can make their own levels in the PC version and then upload them and let other people play them.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's awesome. And where can people find the game?
Well, you can go to survivethedistance.com to kind of get to every different way you can get the game. It's on Steam Early Access right now, and so it's in beta, and we're releasing builds as frequently as we can on there to kind of go back and forth with the community and improve it. The story mode's kind of the big thing that we're going to release when the game hits 1.0, and when it hits 1.0, it will be released officially on Steam and also on PS4.
Do you have a date for that yet?
We don't have an official date.
Okay.
We're trying to finish the game by the end of this year, so we're kind of moving towards it, but when it's ready is the official release.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you have a wonderful PAX. And I hope you guys are enjoying our PAX coverage. We'll have a lot more coming. Make sure you check out Distance on Early Access and maybe more at the end of the year. But thank you so much for watching.